So let's take a look now at the kind of things I'd like to see from the next Bond film. Certainly at the end of Spectre, they left it very open-ended. In some ways, it was a nice end to Craig's time as Bond, so if he does decide to step down, then I have no major problems with that, because it did end the arc quite nicely, as well as Mendes's involvement with the series. But one could argue he's gone off happily into the sunset with, or sunrise with Swan, but certainly there is scope to pick that back up, with Blofeld incarcerated, with Swan accompanying Bond. There is certainly sequel potential there. So we'll have to wait and see as to what's going to happen in that respect. Now, as much as I'd love to see a standalone Craig film, because mainly his films have been centred around this whole plotline of Spectre, or apparently it's been building up to that, I do feel that they're going to go down the kind of On Her Majesty's Secret Service route. Now, one of the draft scripts for Spectre had as the last line of the film, "We have all the time in the world." Now, us true Bond fans will know the significance of that line and where it's going to lead. Now, certainly they didn't include that in the film, but you could see where their intentions were going. And in my mind, it's fairly clear to see that they wanted to go down that killing of Swan route to therefore lead Bond on a revenge mission against Blofeld. Now, personally, I don't want this, because that's going to lead to another revenge-filled kind of rogue Bond storyline, which has dominated Craig's time as Bond. What I would like to see, though, is a solid Spectre continuation story, whereby Blofeld is actually played by the same actor. Maybe that's too much to ask, but we could certainly be in a position where we may get Blofeld played by Waltz once again, and leading to a nice continuation story. If they decide to go down the killing of Swan route, I can certainly see that playing out in the pre-title sequence. Maybe picking almost directly up from the end of Spectre, with Swan and Bond riding off in the DB5. It wouldn't take much to get some Spectre goons to then shoot down their car, killing Swan in the process. Alongside this, we could then see Blofeld being broken out of prison by some Spectre goons as well. In some ways, the revenge-filled story would be very much in keeping with Craig's time as Bond. They've certainly stuck to the personal side of Bond for his time in the role. Then again, we have had quite a few rogue Bond storylines. We've already seen it so many times before. We saw a rogue Bond storyline in Quantum of Solace. We saw him disobeying orders in Spectre. He didn't go full rogue, but he was certainly disobeying M's orders. And we've seen him follow a personal mission on M's behalf for Skyfall. We don't really want to see another revenge-filled story for Bond 25, but if they go down that route, it's very much in keeping with Craig's storylines. The only true standalone Bond film that he's done then is Casino Royale, but even then we didn't get the proper Bond experience with him finding his feet and still causing problems for M. As for a title for Craig's fifth Bond film, I quite like the idea of Shatterhand, the alias of Blofeld from You Only Live Twice, the novel. Particularly if Sam Mendes returns along with Craig, Waltz and the others, this would fit in very well indeed. It becomes Sam Mendes' S trilogy, which some people have touted as a potential. If, on the other hand, we get a new Bond, I don't want them to carry on. I don't want to see another disjointed Spectre story with a change of actor part way through. I'd like to see a kind of reset, if you like. Get away from the Craig storyline that they have been kind of dealing with for the last 4 films, and branch off into something new and do some standalone missions just like the good old James Bond days of old. If they do go for new Bond, they could take that opportunity to reset the franchise completely. Before the release of Spectre, there were rumours that they were going to go down a 60s route. It may have been some crazy tabloid speculation, but I do quite like that idea of changing everything and going down to the old classic Bond films. Bring back the over-the-top villains. Take away the reliance on mobile phones. They seem to be quite keen on nostalgia, bringing back the DB5 so many times, so why not go the full hog and go for a full 60s Bond film? They could even go so far as to get a younger, lesser-known actor and sign him up for a 7-film contract, just like they were planning to do with Lazenby, to help maintain that continuity. If we go down the route of a new Bond, title-wise, I'd like to see one of Fleming's used. Risiko is still one that hasn't been used, as well as Property of the Lady. As long as the plot line fits the title, I would really love to see one of these used. Whatever they have in mind for the future, only time will tell, however frustrating it may be. For the time being, we can purely speculate about what's going to happen. But we can expect next year to be filled with lots of news, and I'll do my best to keep you up to date as and when it comes out, so you can be kept in the loop. In the meantime, celebrate the first anniversary of the 24th Bond film by watching it all over again and relive the excitement that you felt a year ago. Let me know in the comments about what you'd like to see from a future Bond film, and follow me on Twitter @TheRealJBond007. Until next time, thanks for watching.